Resume recording. So we are going to be talking about emotions today, which is a very, very long topic. So we're going to be talking about emotions and emotional intelligence. Okay. And as we'll go about it, we'll see that it is, the emotional intelligence that actually sustains the success in a person's life. You get success initially depending on your IQ, that is your intelligence in a normal way, but that's the threshold thing, that gets you into the organization, that gets you into a college, that gets you wherever, for your exams and all that. But ultimately it is the emotional intelligence that makes you grow in the
Hello.
Okay, it makes you grow in the society, and it takes you to places. So before I begin, would you like to see a film, a short clipping? Yes, you can unmute and say yes also, and then mute again. I'm emotionally unstable. What nonsense? Who are you? If you're here, you're not. Okay. So who wrote that? 1 second. Brew, you can talk to me, Brew lol. Is that your full proper name? So please put your proper name, and thank you so much. So let's take it further. So this is the film. So you like to see the film? Huh? Many of you said yes. So let's see this film. It's a very cute film. It doesn't have any, it has just has some music, attitude towards life, and fear. Look at this girl. She wants adventure and fun and all that, and wherever she goes, she's only bringing about positivity and protection around her. Here, see, she wins the lottery also, and this guy cracks all the glasses. So she, wherever she goes, she's bringing in a lot of love, blossoming, and all that, and she's not realizing how positive she is. And this guy, and now they meet. Timmy, some chai will do. Thank you so much. The setting is in San Francisco. I haven't been there, but I have. You see, the moment she took over, that magic started happening. Okay, her luck took over, and she's not in any trouble. She's like, not at all scared, and he's full of fear, and she's full of excitement. Her attitude is so different. That's so lovely. His umbrella was not acting like a parachute, but the moment she touches him, his luck also opens up, and plop, there'll be a candy also falling down. That cart was a candy cart. Film by Michael and Michael Lau. So did you like it?
Yes, Vav.
It was cute, na? Very cute.
Very cute. Very.
Yeah. So what did you pick up where emotions and the whole thing was concerned? So what did you pick up from this film? Always stay happy. Always expect the best. But some people are lonely. They can actually create a lot of okay, lovely. I read lonely, and yet some people can be lonely and they might feel negative. So they will create a lot of negativity around them. But once you're positive, once you're expecting the best, so even if you jump into something which is wrong and all that, somehow magic will happen for you, and things will just start working out for you. Okay, and you will have an adventure. You will you'll just be full of that fun thing. And this morning I didn't mention it, but I was just reminded of this movie called Just My Luck when I saw this particular one. Always try to find out the positive things from the negative. Yes, and can't appreciate happiness if you've never felt sadness. True. And also there are some people who are absolutely um, you know just not expecting the best. They will just keep getting into trouble, and there'll be the others who will just expect the best and they'll just keep attracting a lot of good luck. And even if they are scared, if they just kind of decide to come together and take life in a stride, then there can be a lot of synergy and again magic. Okay, so now let's look at emotions and let's see how it really works. So yeah, ups and downs will keep happening. Okay, at the same time let's enjoy the emotions. So again, my favorite thing, are you ready for some new ideas? And let's start by saying yes. Okay, so with that, now let's look at emotions. Okay, so initially, corporates did not like emotions in workplace. Thank you so much, Shakshi and Brew, that emotions were ignored. Anyone who showed a bit of emotional outburst or something, that person was judged. Okay, and managers worked very hard to make sure that the environment around them are absolutely emotionally free and emotional. They really thought that people who are emotional were the ones who are irrational, and you were not allowed to express your feelings at all at the workplace. Okay, so it was proved that, and believed that people who are emotional, they don't perform. Okay, so the people who are rational, the people who are focused towards the work, they're not emotional. They just come, they're calm, composed, simple people. They come, they do their work, and they go home. And when they go home, they can do what they want. Okay, and in the homes, the women used to be the very emotional types and all that, because we talked about the left brain and the right brain yesterday. Remember, the women are the emotional types, the right brain that controls the left part of the body. So generically, the people with feminine qualities are very emotional. Some men can be also feminine, as I just mentioned it yesterday, and some of the women can be very masculine also. They can be very yang also, and very with less emotions. So it was believed that emotions is not good for the workplace. And what people noticed was people getting irritated, frustrated, and angry. But now we know that you cannot separate emotions from the workplace. So earlier it used to be considered that the moment you express your emotions, you are not a good character person. You were kind of, it was very damaging for your social status. But with people like Amir Khan, with people even like Amitabh Bachchan now, and even our Prime Minister Modi ji, openly expressing their emotions, openly crying, openly, showing their feelings. Now emotions are accepted more, than anything. And earlier it used to be said that emotions are not good for you. It is disruptive, and it is not good for rational thinking. Well, every time you can't take rational decisions. So there are times when you've got to take emotional decisions. And remember, the right brain is the emotional way. The heart may be a little towards the left, but the heart is always right. Okay, the it's right here, which is controlling the heart. So the heart is always right. Okay, and then about Charles Darwin and the whole evolution theory. He said that emotions are the ones that really get you to be strong. And if you are in touch with your emotions, only then it proves that you are strong. And the more you evolve, the more you are emotionally intelligent, and the more you grow up in age also, you become more and more emotionally intelligent. Yet I can tell you that with my personal experience, I've seen some small kids are far more emotionally intelligent than their own parents or than the undersigned. That is, I feel that some kids are more intelligent emotionally than I am. So let's take it further. And not everyone, not all the researchers really accept it. So now let's look at the types of behavior. So when we talk about organizational behavior, there's a different, definition for organization that we are not going to talk about right now. But let's look at the behavior aspect. So the behavior aspect is made up of three components. The first is the cognitive aspect, that is your actual intelligence, your memory, your perception, your ability to learn, your ability to express, your ability to do problem solving, rational, kind of decision making, etc. All this is all that is supposed to be cognitive. Even the creative aspect of it, which is convergent thinking, is also part of the cognitive, that is the brain functions. Okay, but when it comes to the heart matters, that is the right brain functions, that emotions, the feelings, that is called the affective part. Okay, and both these combinations, that is the left brain, the right brain, the head and the heart, all of it, the rational thinking and the emotional thinking put together, all that conglomerates and makes up what is called your personality, and your behavior comes out, which is called the conative aspect. Okay, so the way you put on a screen in front of your face in the form of a mask, in the form of a makhota, and then the way you project yourself to the world around you, that is your behavioral tendency. So your personality has its own traits and tendencies to and dispositions to act in certain ways when you are put in certain situations. Okay, so are we clear about what is, like, cognitive, affective and conative? And the affect part is what we are going to be discussing today. So a quick yes or something in the chat box will really help. So what are emotions and moods? So the affective, the broad range of emotions that people experience are divided into two separate parts. Okay, so emotions is something that is, intense. It is something, an intense feeling. But moods is something that is, you are in a mood all the time. So you're in a good mood, you're in a bad mood, you're in a foul mood, you are in a happy mood, you are in a chilled out mood, you are in an excited mood. So moods are happening all the time. You are in that, yeah, constant mood swings. It's always in the swing, going up and down, like an yo-yo also, or like the oscillator, what's it called, the pendulum. Okay, so like a swing, it goes up, it goes down, it goes around. There's nothing, the mood doesn't have any other Shakespeare in the house. That's a cute one. Brooke, you seem to be kind of, yes, chillax, chillazed. That's a good one also, Mihir. I like that. So you decide, aaj kuch mood nahi hai. I'm not in a mood to do anything. So you're in a lazy mood. Or you are in a mood where you just want to watch some films. You're in a mood to watch some crying films. You are in a mood to listen to, not in a mood to study nonsense. I'm one of those people, who's always in a mood to study. So come on, let's take it up further. So let's now just understand which are the basic emotions. Okay, so research has proved and said that there are six basic emotions, though of course the next slide will tell you that there are more also, and some important emotions have been missed out. So just for sake of understanding the theoretical part of it, the researchers first said that happiness is something very important. So let's start, to learn it. Let's start with this thing that, the first thing that happens is happiness. Okay. So people are very overjoyed, joyful, and they're, full of cheer and all that. So that happiness is there. And then what happens? Somebody comes in, you like somebody, and or you don't like somebody, and they just come, or you get a gift or something. The first thing that happens is a surprise. So after a lot of happiness, celebrations, joyful mood, you're surprised. Okay. Then you're afraid of something, so there is that fear that really shrinks you up, and you're like, oh no, oh no, now what's going to happen? This guest has come, but they want to stay for a long time, and it's going to be crazy. I can't take an overdose of this guest. So happiness, then surprise, and then there is fear. And after fear, when fear lasts in your system for a long time, you get a little depressed. Okay, so that depression leads to immense amount of sadness, melancholy. You don't know what to do with your life. And then you get so irritated, this is no, 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 enough of this depression and sadness. Let me get angry. How dare it continue? How dare, this anger and all this is, I mean, this is too much. So that's where the anger comes in. And when too much of anger comes in, one gets absolutely disgusted. How long is it going to last? Yeeks, yuck. Okay, so now let's do all this, expressions. So we start with, come on, everyone, happiness, and then surprise, and then fear, and then sadness, and then anger, and disgust. Cha! Okay, so this is the spectrum of emotions. But then, as I said, that other authors also who did the research on emotional intelligence and emotions, they said that yes, anger, sadness, fear, surprise, disgust is definitely there. But there is also this whole thing called love. Okay, in love, you just accept things the way they are given to you. When you are in love with someone or something, you are willing to, kind of go to any mile. And even if that person does something which is not very good and not very healthy for themselves or for you, you still don't have any problem because you are in love. Okay, so love, trust, kindness, devotion. Okay, yeah, just like the emojis here, there are plenty of emojis that will kind of tell you all these emotions, right? So when you are committed to someone, okay, when you are happy, when you are accepting someone, when you are a devotee, then what happens is that you accept the person as the person is, and you are still okay with the person. And then there is also this whole concept where people insult you. So then they put you into guilt, shame, embarrassment, remorse, and regret. These emotions are also there, which was not there in the first six primary emotions. Nowadays there's a lot of thing called about about this body shaming thing. A lot of talk is happening. I've not done too much of my research on it, and I really but it's part of the self concept. Okay, there are a lot of people who are fat, who are not good looking, who are wheatish complexion and all that. They're still okay with their life. Okay, so body shaming, please don't accept it. Don't allow people to um, tell you that you're not good enough. Whatever be your size, shape, color, appearance, or whatever it is, you are perfect right now. Okay, nothing is bad. As the times are going by, you just look at even Bollywood. Earlier the actors and the actresses were so plump, they had such unshapely pear like shaped bodies. And then came Rekha also. Even I don't know about Tanmay Bhatt. I'm short, I get bullied. Okay. Um, um, I'll tell you about one person in my life. I can even show you his photographs. I mean, just I'll have to look for it where it is, but I do have his photographs. one of my colleagues. He's way shorter than I am. Okay, I'm 5'5", okay, 5'5.5" or something like that. So that boy is barely 5 feet. Okay, and you should see his confidence. He's got a girlfriend who is my height, and he's absolutely okay with it. Another, I mean, this is a real life case in front of me. Okay, his name is Shushant Hedu, and he did his BBA from Modern College, not even from your college. He was doing his engineering from COEP, but then there was a very personal tragedy and a setback that happened in his life, and for 1 or 1.5 years he could not come out of it. You are 6'3" and आपकी भी girlfriend है. So good. I'm happy. Okay. And why are you Black Banana Man? Please change your name. I will not accept these things. Okay. This is okay if we get into an informal class, where you come in as whatever it is, but please, your attendance is going to be affected. So change your name to what you really are and respect this class. Okay. This is the first time this has happened with me. So I'm not taking it in a very good way right now. When it was happening in my class with another faculty, then I told the students why you're not why you all are not doing it to me and why to him, but I don't accept this. Okay, so thank you, and I'll be very grateful if you just change your name. Okay, otherwise I'm not going to be happy about it. Okay, so this is what it is. And okay, before we even begin, there was this movie that my son showed me a few months ago, or a couple of years ago. I don't really remember. This was called Inside Out. So, how many of you have heard about this movie? You could type me or something, to tell me that you have. Okay, Inisha has raised the hand. Quite a few of them have, heard about this movie. I think three, four, five of you. Very good. So, I'm going to show you. I'm not promoting the movie, but if you feel like watching this movie, it's really cute. It actually gives you an insight about how men, women, kids, and what they go through and what happens. I'm going to show you a small trailer. Here, that's for you guys. It's a Disney and Pixar film.
So, Riley, how was the first day of school?
Fine, I guess.
Moms have emotions too.
Up on that.
So here there are 5 major emotions.
Uh-oh, she's looking at us. What did she say?
Oh, sorry, sir. No one was listening.
Is it garbage night? We left the toilet seat up. What is it, woman? What?
That red fellow is the anger.
This is sadness. That's
Joy.
What?
This is disgust. And that's fear. We're Riley's emotions. These are Riley's memories. They're mostly happy, you'll notice, not to brag.
Miranda maybe hold more?
What happened? Sadness?
She did something to the memory.
Is everything okay?
I don't know.
Take it back, Joy.
Hey,
Joy, no,
let's
wait.
The core memories. Can I say that curse word now?
What do we do now?
Nothing's working. Why isn't it working?
We have a major problem.
Oh, I wish Joy was here.
We can fix this. We just have to get back to headquarters.
That's long-term memory. You could get lost in there.
Think positive.
Okay. I'm positive you will get lost in there.
What was that? Was it a bear?
There are no bears in San Francisco.
I saw a really hairy guy. He looked like a bear.
This place is huge. Imagination Land? No way. Dream Productions? Rainbow Unicorn. She's right there. I loved you in Fairy Dream Adventure Part 7. Okay, bye. I love you. You can't focus on what's going wrong. There's always a way to turn things around. It's Broccoli.
Congratulations, San Francisco. You ruined pizza.
Hey,
The birthday girl!
They're all in your head.
Hang on. Riley, here we come.
I guess through this whole thing, you all can't see it in the way I can see it on my computer. So I noticed that clearly. So look for this trailer, okay, on the YouTube, and then you can send the link of it again in your group, and all of you can then see it. And those who missed it can also see how it is. Okay, so here you'll see that in Inside Out, they've only spoken about the five major emotions. Okay, so they've spoken about joy, that is happiness, they've spoken about fear, they've spoken about disgust, anger, and sadness. They have missed out the surprise element. Okay, but these guys, with their emotions, the surprise is also there all the time. This movie is full of something or the other, some adventure, and there's a lot of surprise. So now let's take it again, that what are basically emotions? Emotions are, as I said, excited states, okay, where people cannot be neutral. You are okay. The mood part of it can be, yeah, thank you so much. You send it also in the group, okay, and let everyone be able to watch it in their own mobile after we have finished the class, because we have a lot to cover in this class. So emotions cannot be neutral. Okay, you may be having slightly lower emotions in terms of, like, if you're low negative effect, that is, you may be generally tired, you may be bored, you may be slightly, depressed, and then you'll be sad, and you'll be upset, and then you're stressed, and then you're nervous, and you're tense, and you don't know what to do. Okay, maybe even anger and all that comes in once the stress goes up. But in general, if you are calm, you're relaxed, you're serene, you're feeling lazy, you're feeling chilled out, that's, a high positive one comes starts happening when you feel happy, elated, excited, and then you're alert and aware, and you can be absolutely, ecstatic. So that's how it is. And I've been telling you since the past 2 days that I'm very much influenced by this movie called The Secret. So from there, I've taken a screenshot about feelings. So Rhonda Byrne says also that it's very easy to deal with your feelings, but it's not so easy to deal with your thoughts, because thoughts can be multiple in your mind, and they can go in various directions. They can be, you may be thinking about your next day's class, you may be thinking about sleeping, you must be thinking about drinking tea, you may be, hungry and not at lunch, you may be thinking about, your family who is close to you, away from you, some relatives, some friends. You could be thinking about the past, the future, the present, and God knows what not. But when it comes to feelings, according to Rhonda Byrne, they're just divided into two major type of feelings: those feelings that make you feel good, and those that make you feel bad. So if you're feeling good about something, if you're elated, and your hands are up in the air, you are kind of, joyous, and you're, in that generally smiley mood, then you're feeling good. But if you're shrunk up, your body posture is like, you're feeling sad, you got that little hunch in your shoulder, and you're not, sitting kind of then that is it. Yes, music is a solution. I spoke about it yesterday. So thank you for it. So if you're feeling love, gratitude, joy, passion, happiness, excitement, joyful expectation, hope, and satisfaction, you're feeling good. But if you're feeling annoyance, anger, worry, criticism, blame, revenge, hatred, resentment, guilt, depression, and fear, then you're not feeling good. So here there are some research papers that have been written about all this, that personality of a person, the traits, the general tendencies of a person also affects the person's emotional state of beingness as we go along. Yeah, good. So that is all lovely. I really love your participation. That's good. Good. Keep on, keep it going. So there's also the day and time of the week. Some people feel very, very sad and lonely and depressed when they have to wake up in the morning on a Monday morning. They feel the Monday blues. But people like me and my husband and many others, we just feel so excited about Monday, back to work. Okay, and some people love the Fridays. So thank God it's Friday is something that is, people have started some cafes and restaurants also, you know uh, Okay, good. So this is how it happens. Okay. And yet there are some people who are absolutely, full of energy on Wednesdays, which is the center of the week. They just feel that there's still a lot to do and they are at the peak on Wednesdays. And yet there are some people who are very happy early in the morning and some very happy in the evenings. Late evenings is when they feel very strong. And in the early 90s, there was this song that was released by Baba Saigal which said, रात के 12 बजे दिन निकलता है, सुबह के 6 बजे रात होती है. So there are, situations where everyone has their own body type, everyone has their own day and time of the week that they feel happy or they feel sad, or even the year also. Okay, weather also, researchers prove that weather has no effect on emotions. But there are people who are very happy during summers, there are some people very happy during the winters, and there are some people who are very happy, who are kind of, absolutely joyous and thrilled, when it's a rainy season. I know of my grandmother, my nanny used to just not like the Pune rainy season, but my mother-in-law, oh my God, she feels so joyous, when the rainy season comes. She doesn't get any problems in her arms and legs or whatever. She's still very strong and all that, and going strong. So stress is something which researchers already proved that stress, you know, has an effect on emotions. Okay, there are some people who are very happy if they are full of stress. They look for stress, they look for stressful jobs that excite them, that make them happy. And yet there are others who just can't even bear the slightest stress. A little bit stress will come, their mood will just dip. So again, stress does affect emotions, but how it affects, the research is still on. And there is a generic feeling that high levels of stress makes a person, fearful, and the confidence goes down and the emotions are all over the place, and the people cry or they get depressed or they get angry or something like that. And so whatever it is, stress also has an effect. Okay. And okay, then there are social activities. Okay, some people, they like going out and eating, some people like picnics, some people like, meetings, and some people like gathering. And yet there are others, who just, they don't like all this. Okay, they like to be at home, they like to be very happy with their own, book and a cup of hot chocolate or a cup of coffee, and they are just chilled out. So again, depends. There are some people who get very stressed out if you take them out for picnics. If you tell them to go to a restaurant or something like that, they're just not into it. Okay. And I guess today a bit of too much of this, um too much of what can I say, expression is coming out. Even Harvey Specter is coming. Okay, Suits is coming in, and uh, Sugma, can you please? Who are you? Can you just? What are these? Can I just stop the class for a minute? Recording, let me. Okay, it's working. So I'm the co-host. Okay, I've given you the rights also. Okay, you can now mute yourself and just remove anyone who does all this nonsense. Okay, I love participation, but I do not like disrespecting the room. Okay,
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
when we are in a fun mood or in a completely different kind of state of mind, then it's all right. But please respect the room. I mean, 90% of what I could say, 98% of you are already respecting the room. There are only 97 participants right now. But the 2, 3 of you who are in a different Chichilian mood, um, please leave my room. I think they have gone. They have left, or they've changed.
Yes, ma'am. They left.
Yes, ma'am. I guess they left.
They
Yes,
either
they
left
did.
or they have changed their names. Okay, so then
guess.
it's okay. Okay.
Yeah, because the number of participants should have been reduced, but I guess they changed their names.
Yeah, so good. And thank you, but no thank you for wasting our time. This is a very long lecture. Okay. What is this? This meeting is being recorded by the host or a participant.
No, ma'am. I'm just making you the host again.
Okay, make me the host again. I
Yes,
can even,
ma'am.
I can even reclaim host. Don't worry. Okay.
Okay.
So I
So,
have got it now. You can mute
yes.
yourself. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. God bless you. Mute yourself and then let's proceed. The recording is already on, and I wouldn't mind showing this to. I'm feeling a little embarrassed. Yeah, nobody has done this before with me. Well, if Suresh sir was here, he would say there's always a first time for everything. So get used to it. There are times when some people are in their different mood and you don't know what to do with them. Okay. So we were talking about the social activities, and I was telling you all that there are different type of people, and I'm sure you've experienced it yourself. Okay. So now let's look. The next is sleep. Okay. So when people don't get the adequate amount of sleep, they feel either too tired or too exhausted or too angry, and the vibrations, the emotions, the vibrations just come down. Okay. When you are in a happy, joyous, peaceful, relaxed, and absolutely satisfied state of mind, you vibe at higher frequencies. Okay. When you are sad and depressed, you can kind of tend to vibe at lower frequencies. Now, I haven't really come across any research papers on it, but this is what I've heard about people talking about, and but there's been no real research, so I've not been able to put it down here. But next time, if you want, I can kind of look for some, and that's where the color of the spectrum also goes up. So when you're feeling low, you are feeling kind of depressed and all that. And there have been some pictures I've seen of um, statements and people saying that it's better to be angry than to be depressed, because you need some amount of energy and some amount of positivity within you to be angry. Okay. If you're depressed, it just feels as if you don't deserve anything, you don't even deserve to be angry. So sleep is again very important. Going back to sleep, there are some people who find it difficult to sleep at night because they've not exercised enough. So exercise does improve your mood, because it kind of helps you release certain and endorphins in the system. These endorphins are supposed to be the happiness hormones. Okay. So they just make you feel very good. So there are some and hormones that relieve you of your stress, and some hormones actually they put you into stressful situations. So I'm not very good with this hormones factor and this dopamine, serotonin, endorphins, and cortisols, and what else is there? You all can chat also and tell me how it works. I'm sure many of you know about it. So I'm going to get someone who knows about it, and will then be able to. Oxytocin, yes, I remember this morning, but right now I just forgot about it. So oxytocin is also a very positive hormone that makes you feel happy and good. Okay, endorphins, so definitely it does. Okay, and exercising and good amount of sleep, it rejuvenates the body, it rejuvenates your cells. It's very important. Now, age is again something where researchers said that older folks experience fewer negative emotions, and yet I have seen some people in my personal life, the older they grow, the more bitter and embittered they become. So it's again personal, and some people, the older they grow, the more mature they grow. So it is different in terms of the research says like this. Okay, and research also has proved it, and I don't think we need to even talk about it, that women are generally more expressive about their emotions. Women are comfortable about crying in public, but men find it tough. And nowadays things are changing. It's okay if you are a man, and if you're a boy, and if you are crying, if you're emotional, everything is good. And the reason why women have got less tendencies of stress and heart diseases or cancer or everything, is because they express themselves. So it's actually good to express yourself. And there are times when, if you're not comfortable about expressing yourself, just write down your emotions. Okay, you can write it down, you can then tear it into pieces, and you can just throw it out. Okay, and you'll feel that sense of relief going in. You can burn the emotions and let it go. Okay, you can even close your eyes, take a deep breath in, or just change your stance. Okay, change your posture. So just watch your posture when you're feeling whatever emotion that you're not comfortable with, and change it to something different. So if you're bending for, if you're, slumped up and you're feeling sad, you just feel. If you're in this posture and you're feeling sad, then change your posture. Look somewhere else. And there are times when it is those were the days, baby. Nowadays, actually, people are very comfortable about showing their emotions, and others, people like what's his name, this Amir Khan and Amitabh Bachchan ji himself have openly started. Even a prime minister started showing the emotions. Okay, so these were the things of the past. Now it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to be what you are, and okay to be it in front of others. But if you're not, then at least have somebody in your life you can be, emotional with. Men don't cry. Yeah, I mean, I know. But then so many ads have also been made. So find those ads and put them in, as a link in the YouTube, and show us that it's not true. Okay. It's not really true when you call it toxic masculinity, not really true. But too much of anger expression, by the men, that may be considered to be toxic. But tell me, what's wrong with anger? That's a big question mark. Okay, I could stop sharing and ask you this question, and I would love to hear your opinion about it. There's nothing wrong with anger. If things are not going your way over and over again, and from irritation, anger, then there's nothing really wrong with it. Okay, you should know how to deal with your anger. You should know how to cope with your own anger. You should know what to do with your anger,
दूसरी आवाज कम करो.
and you should also know how to, um, go about it. If someone else is angry in front of you, are you going to just make generic statements like "ye acha insan nahi hai"? Okay, so the time is really going by fast, and there is a case study also which I'm going to be doing as soon as I give you a break and we come to emotional intelligence. So let me go ahead with this and come to the next slide, which talks about emotional labor. So a lot of it is written over here. I'll just talk about emotional labor, like, uh, from what I've understood it. It just means that if you have to pretend to be someone else, if you've got to pretend to be happy, pretend to love someone, pretend to be satisfied, pretend to be whatever it is, okay, that is what is called the emotional labor. Okay, emotional dissonance is when you are disturbed, you don't know what you are feeling. Are you feeling angry? Are you feeling fear? Are you feeling stressed out? What are you feeling? We don't know. That is emotional dissonance, where you've been shaken up. Okay, you are in a state of shock, or maybe you are completely shaken up. That is emotional dissonance. But emotional labor is supposed to be, something that is, where you're pretending to be someone else, where you're going around with a mask. Okay, you're smiling at the person saying, "Boss, you're the best thing that happened," and mentally you want to tell, "Boss, you are a bleep bleep, I just don't like you." But you can't say that to the boss. Okay, I don't know what that thing is, IVGN. Okay, remember, I'm not your, like, I understand lol, laugh out loud, and for your information, F by I, but beyond that, I don't know all this. Okay, so just make sure that people who are pretending in front of you, you have no idea what's going on in that, in the recesses of that subconscious mind. Consciously they are just pretending to be someone else, they're projecting themselves to be someone else, but that will just crush them. One day they will have a breakdown, and once they break down, you'll not be able to handle that kind of toxicity, that kind of venom, that kind of poison that will come out. Okay, so please give chance for people around you to express themselves in small doses, in ways that you may consider not to be socially adequate or appropriate at that moment. Okay, are you getting it? And those people who are into deep acting, oh my god, I really tell you, it is a very, very stressful situation. That's why you'll find that there are some women who, in spite of everything happening good in their life, they always got that, you know, stressful look, or they've got the pretense, but the moment they go home, they break things. They don't break it purposely, but they'll hold something and it'll just fall from their hands, and they'll destroy things. Even their phone will just get spoiled very fast. So people who have this, the emotions are not really coming out. You'll find that there are some women and some men whose shoes last forever, and some within 2 months, 3 months, shoes are gone. Okay, earphones gone, phones broken, lost, data lost. Okay, so these negative things happen. Specs, getting spoiled. Those what do you put, those lenses, getting spoiled. So you have to be very, very careful with people around you who are not feeling comfortable with you. So in order to be emotionally intelligent, you've got to become aware of what's happening in your mind, in your system, and you've got to be able to recognize what is happening in somebody else's mind. They may not know what's going on in their mind, but you should know what's going on in their mind, and you should make them feel comfortable enough to express themselves. Okay, and to manage their emotions, and to make it into what is called a more pleasant experience for yourself and for everyone. You do need someone, there in your life. You are not an island, and if you're dealing and living in a society, the word society is coming from the word social. The social means you are surrounded by other people, you have got a system around you, a social system around you, and in order to manage that, you've got to be emotionally intelligent. Okay, so at this moment I will give you, there is enough time, but I'll give you a good 7 to 8 minutes of time. So I'm going to put on some music, and there's something happening to this particular one. I'm going to put on some music, and I'll ask you to take a short break. Okay. 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 So basically, I talked about consciousness and the subconsciousness in the first lecture itself. And yesterday also I mentioned the importance of what happens at the subconscious level and how our fears can sometimes really take over. But then today, again, when we're talking about emotions also, you know, I put this slide in which says that basically our consciousness, whether it is the consciousness or the subconsciousness, that 90% that we don't know, it is made up of billions and gazillions of programs. And all these programs put together, they are the ones that are controlling the way we respond to the universe or react to the universe. Okay. Now, simple thing, I'll just give you an example, is that there are some people in life, who are extremely confident that they go out in the cold and without any blazer, or without any cardigan, or without any jacket or something, and they'll come back home, they'll get wet, and they'll come back home, they'll switch on the AC, they'll switch on the fan, and they'll be absolutely fine, no cold. And yet there'll be others, a little change in the season, and they've got running nose, and they're coughing away. And so those people who think from within themselves that, oh, I'm very strong, my body is made out of steel, nothing happens to me, nothing can touch me, it's true, they don't fall sick. And the others who are completely paranoid about themselves, okay, and these people keep falling sick and they have problems. So every individual has their own unique set of personality traits, and then they may be having the same environment, but how they perceive the environment, how they deal with it. Yesterday we talked about perception also, so that also matters. And then there are certain traits that come within people, and you know and the others, like there's some situations that happen, and some people cope with it in one way, some people have different coping mechanisms. So like computer programs, these programs can be changed. Okay, so just because you built a program in your system which may not be working for you, okay, then what happens? You can still become aware of it. You can go take that program out, debug it, okay, remove the t of the can't, okay, remove the bug in that program, and recreate a new program which works in your favor every time. So be careful. I talked about it yesterday. If sometimes one time something goes wrong, it will be an accident. But if it happens for the second time, a similar situation, coincidences. Okay. But if it becomes a pattern more than twice or thrice, then watch out for it and change it if you're not comfortable. Okay. If you're comfortable with it, then go ahead, go right ahead and be that way. So I'm going to be telling you and, going to put you through a case study. So are you interested in a case study? A small caselet? Have you ever done a case study or a caselet before? Hmm? Tell me, do you want to do a case study? Shall we discuss this case? Yes, only one person has responded. Come on, 2, 3 more yeses. Okay, a little more enthusiasm. This is something different. Okay, so case is also something which will really put you into a different mode, and it'll actually give you some perspective towards how it goes. Okay, so just to save time, I'm going to read it out loudly for you all. Just follow it with me. I think on your mobile also you can just stretch it and read it with me. I don't want to hear your excuses. Just get those planes in the air. Rana Anand was screaming at his gate manager as head of Indian Airlines operations at Santa Cruz, Mumbai airport. Rana has been consistently frustrated by the attitude displayed by the native employees. Transferred from Delhi to Mumbai just 6 months ago, Rana was unable to adjust to the Mumbai work style. He thought they were not good subordinates and just very unappreciative about being on schedule. If Rana was critical about his staff, even they were of him. They disliked him and his screaming and shouting. They were constantly in fear of being chewed out. Many had been on that airport since 4 years and found life quite miserable since Rana had joined as head. Rana was transferred to Mumbai to actually tighten up the flight operations. He had a good track record, and even he failed to realize why he was having problems with his staff. Okay, so now there's a question mark over there which is asking you how to process the case. Okay, you've read the case, you can read it again if you want, but just go through it again and just see what suggestions. Now this is now addressed to you. What suggestions, if any, would you give Rana to help him improve his managerial effectiveness? So what are the suggestions that you're going to give him? You can start typing. Come. Tell me. You can unmute also. A good approach towards the staff, like more pleasant way of reasoning instead of shouting, to maintain good employer-employee relationship. Yes, these are good, but then remember he has to have so many planes up in the air. And those of you who know about the Bombay airport, tell me what are the issues over there. The national and the international flight operations have only one runway. That one runway You land also one runway, you take off. Okay. Mumbai has not been able to get a bigger airport. They've been talking about it, but it's not happening. Too many flights, too many flights. 24 by 7, constantly flights are going in and out. Okay. Maybe nowadays the schedule is okay, but this is a real life case actually. It happened with two individuals in my life. One of whom was transferred from Delhi to Mumbai, but I got this idea from Vibha Didi, that is um, Vibha Mishra. She's like, senior to me. She was working as an airport manager in Delhi and she was doing pretty well. And she was transferred to Mumbai. And the sole problem about Mumbai and all that, the scheduling and all that, she just refused. She resigned from the job. Okay. So she just left that job. And since then, she's been like, kind of hunting for proper, better jobs. And this was more than 20 years ago that she left the job. Okay. So, but then Nivedita, a friend of mine, she was Nivedita Dogra. I don't know what her surname is right now. Okay. So she was again an airport manager in Delhi and was transferred to Mumbai. And she came to Mumbai for 1.5 years. She didn't meet me. She didn't meet the other Mumbai friends. She was so busy looking after all this, and she was a successful manager. I sent this case to her the moment I kind of, heard that she's getting transferred, and a good close friend of mine. That's why. But she didn't meet any of us, huh? She was so busy. And the first moment she got a chance to get back to Delhi, she went back. Okay, and after that, she's not even visited Mumbai. Okay, so tell me, how do you handle this? Too many flights. What to do? What could Rana do? Are you wanting to say something? And please mute yourself, baby, if you don't want to say anything. Okay. So anybody else who wants to discuss something, he could have been a little more enthusiastic, true. But when things are not happening properly and 6 months have gone by, how does he maintain his enthusiasm? Okay, I'll just quickly process the case for you all because if I had more time, I could, dig it out of you. So this is the case that I even take up, and I take up, my first case in organizational behavior. In the introduction to what is organization and what is behavior, etc., etc., I take this case up. Okay, and I bring out an array of, things that are required, and then we bring about, the entire course forward, that this is what we're going to learn over a period of time. So now let me come to the point here. I'm going to use this word called empathy. Okay, put yourself in Rana Anand's shoes. What would you have done? Now Rana is failing. He was a guy who was very good with the operations in Delhi, but he's not able to manage the Mumbai. Why? So first, let's look at the culture. He is, the name Rana Anand sounds as if he's a very Punjabi, Haryana type, guy. He could be from UP, he could be from, Rajasthan, he could be from Bihar. Okay. Now it's a very generic name, but that kind of a name, gives a feeling that he's one of those loud, vociferous, rough, and somebody that I am very comfortable with. But maybe some of the Maharashtrians are not, comfortable. See, he doesn't, Aryan, he doesn't have that kind of power to be able to fire and hire employees. When does he train the new employees and experienced employees? He himself is the manager with the experience, na? So he's supposed to be tightening up the operations, but he's not able to do it. Nobody is listening to him. Okay, he just doesn't, he just feels that why are they not appreciative? Why are they so unappreciative about being on schedule? And let me tell you one thing: the way the birds are, aligned, there is such a waiting place. If you have to take a plane from Mumbai to go to any other place in the evening or any time during the day, frankly, you are absolutely assured that you'll never reach on time. You tell the people, I'm coming from Bombay, I'm not coming from Pune, so my flight will not reach on time. Okay. So if you got to go to Ahmedabad and you got to start the meeting within 1 hour of just landing, don't go via Mumbai, because the flight will never take off on time. It will never land on time, and there'll be so much of a waiting. And if it's okay, I mean, there were about 7 to 8 times that I had to fly out of Mumbai. So whether it was a local flight, that is, whether it was domestic or it was international, we just knew that we were going to be late. Okay. And this is still happening, but there are still a lot of operations that are being looked after. So what Rana should have done, now I'm talking not from the emotion point of view, I'm talking about the case. What Rana should have done as a manager, that before he got this assignment like Vibha Didi, he should have done his research and found out who's who in the zoo amongst the staff. Then he should have befriended this person, the key person in the staff before landing Mumbai, and he should have what is called hit the ground running. I'm going to type it out for you all. Hit the ground running. So what do you mean by hit the ground running? Because if you land up in a new place, okay, from a passing train or a passing vehicle, if you just open the door and you just try to come out, you're going to fall very badly, you're going to hurt yourself, and you're going to hate the whole thing. So you got to start running within the train itself. The train is not going to, the life is not going to wait for you, the schedules are not going to wait for you, you don't have time. You got to, the moment you are about to land in Mumbai, you should have already been running, you should have known about the operations of Mumbai. Okay, you should have known the key people who are handling it. You should have done your research and found out which are the airlines that make that mistake, which are the airlines that are taking a little longer than 3 minutes. Every 3 minutes there has to be a takeoff, every 3 minutes there has to be a landing. So if you're sitting in Juhu or maybe even 2.5 minutes now, okay, so if you're sitting in Juhu in the Citizen Hotel and watching the beach, you can see either the planes are taking off, because they land from one side and they take off from another side. Okay, they land on one side and then they take off on another side. So therefore, there is not too much. The moment the plane lands, okay, the other person is just bracing, and the moment the plane goes into the lane, this one takes off, and the moment it goes a little that side, there's another plane which is already landing. Okay, so that's how fast it has to be. And it's so amazing, because I love this whole thing about planes taking off and landing. This is my best part of my life. I feel that flights taking off is the best scene. I want to be happy, I want to feel happy, I just go to YouTube and I put it on, I just go to Viman Nagar and I watch the takeoff of flights, which is just Viman Nagar is just 5 minutes away from my house. Okay, so this is what Rana should have done. And second thing, please remember one thing, that if your senior managers are coming, or if there's a guest, senior or junior, anyone, a new member in your family, make that person feel welcome. Atiti Devo Bhava, not Atiti Tum Kab Jaoge. Remember that movie, Atiti Tum Kab Jaoge? Ajay Devgan and Moon Singh's daughter. I don't know what her name was. Okay, Konkona Singh. Okay, so you got to please welcome new people, the new staff. Okay, make them feel comfortable, tell them who's who in the zoo, or be like Rekha in that old movie, in that Khoobsurat, where where she goes to the youngest brother and she asks him, what are the strengths and weaknesses? What is happening in this house? Why is there so much discipline? And there's no fun over here. So then the youngest fellow tells, Rekha about all that's happening, and then she gets them all together. And the mother, the Dina Pathak, catches them and gets into trouble. So she has her own disciplined way and actual commitment towards the family where she doesn't even belong. And she was so nice and helpful. that ultimately Dina Pathak also made her the daughter-in-law of the family. Okay, so whenever there is a new daughter-in-law coming into your family, or a sister-in-law, or anyone, or if you're going to a new family, do your research about that family. It's not just about corporate that I'm talking about. This emotional intelligence is going to help you in your life, in your personality, whether you are working in the corporate sector, whether you're having a job, you're having a business, you're running your own, you know, enterprise, you're an entrepreneur, or you're a consultant. Okay, or you looking after your house in a proper way. As far as I'm concerned, all the girls, please do something with your life other than just, cook, clean, and take care of children, and mooch around with your husband or fight with your in-laws. Do something more also, okay? Because that is what every other woman does. Do something more than just watching TV and not reading books, and then complaining about how kids are not leaving their mobile phones and they're so rude, etc., etc. So do something more, okay? So please let the staff also understand that this guy is coming from that aggressive culture called Delhi. And we Mumbaikars are a lot more calm. We don't interact with people, we don't socialize. He will talk loudly. Okay. And just telling him to stop being angry and throwing the weight around is not going to work. Okay. You gotta just find out what is it that will make you tick. Make him feel comfortable in Mumbai. Go out, take him out, ask him what is it that he wants to do. Make sure that his children get proper admission. Delhi has got big houses, Hyderabad has got big houses, Mumbai, you come, the biggest houses is okay, small matchbox rooms. You don't know, you just start and you don't even walk 3 feet, and suddenly the room is finished, over. Yeah, literally, I know of people, who stayed in kitchen converted into rooms and balcony converted into rooms because of Bombay spaces and Bombay estate prices. So, are you getting the point, guys? Can I get some response from you? Did you like this case now? Did you understand what is empathy, how a case is dealt with, and how you, this is the truth, okay? Theory is of no use if you cannot put it into practice. Just talking about, oh, I'm a goody goody mushy mushy person. Oh my God, put you in a situation there, you will collapse. Okay, all theory gone, like Karan in the Mahabharat. All that he learned from Parshuramji went for a toss. Okay, when push came to shove, he just had to get down and start taking out his the wheel. Ah, come on, use your knowledge. Why are you so afraid of death? As it is, you were an illegitimate child. Your mother didn't want you. Okay, so you should have just remember and done whatever you had to do. Okay, so you're getting the case now, you enjoying it, good, I'm so happy. So this is about being emotionally intelligent, and research has proved it again and again that the intelligence factor, your problem solving skills, your creativity, your innovation, your thinking ability, your being able to your intelligence, your knowledge about the subject, about the whole thing, just contributes only to 20% of the success in your life. It's 80% of your life is made up of the way you handle your emotions and other people's emotions. So basically, human beings are emotional beings, and any creature which is close to the human being is also emotional. Okay, so one of the most favorite pets that people have are dogs, and then cats. Okay, dogs are very emotional, cats are a little less emotional. Okay, yet anyone who is has got any human, woman, or man kind of appendages and all that, is basically uh, has to be emotionally intelligent to be successful. Okay, so there's a lot of information over here. I'll just quickly put it in my words. To gain entry into an organization, you need good marks. Okay, you have to have a very good knowledge of the subject. You have to know your content very well. Okay, but it's your demeanor, it's your emotional intelligence of how you deal at the interview that will also get you in. So IQ matters. Technical skills are very relevant to enter, to cross the threshold. Once you've crossed that barrier, you've gone into an organization. After that, to maintain and to grow in that organization, technical skills are necessary, only 20%. What is very important is your human skills. Okay. And Robert Katz was one person. When I talk about organizational behavior again, and maybe next time I'll show you that slide, that it's your human skills that you need right at the entry level also, at the middle level also, and at the top level of your management also. Okay. Gosh, you guys are, kind of, you completely make me want to, kind of disable annotation for others. Please, those of you who have annotated, can you please remove your lines? Okay. There's going to be there. So I'll have to, 1 second. This morning, the morning class went off very well. What's wrong with you guys? Are you all really getting bored? So I'm going to go very fast. Okay. So if you want to be a star performer, if you want to really succeed and you want to grow in the organization, what my husband, Professor Vishwanath, used to tell me, that become a good chamcha. Learn how to, suck up to your bosses, but in a respectful manner. Don't muck up with them. Don't uh, don't put on a mask and kind of do yes man and yes minister and yes prime minister all the time. Okay, those of you who have not seen those, please see it. Okay, be emotionally intelligent. Praise your boss. Make the boss comfortable. Make his life or her life easy. Okay, that's your job. If you do that, then you're in the right place. Okay, even if you're an assistant, even if you are just one of the members, not only are you supposed to be there for him where the projects are concerned, be like the staff of Rana. Make his life easy even after work, if at all, in shifts, because you're all working in shifts, and he's there to supervise you all through. Okay, 24/7. He doesn't get an off day. He's got to work every day. There's no one going to be, substituting him. Even if there's some other manager who's going to be taking care of it, both have to put their heads together. Both have to make it happen. Okay, so stop complaining about the fact that इसने तो पटा पटा करके जो है ना बॉस को जो है ना प्रमोशन ले लिया, मैं रह गया क्योंकि मैं से पटता नहीं है लोग. अरे keep your ego aside यार, पटाओ लोगों को. What's wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. That is an emotionally intelligent person. And how do you go about it? Okay, so there are a few more slides which talks about how emotional intelligence is really more important. EI, emotional intelligence, is more important than IQ factor, that is the normal intelligence. Okay, so it's the EQ factor that is important. Your emotional quotient has to be very high. So in this emotional intelligence, according to Daniel Goleman, these are the 5 components that are very important, and the subcomponents within these components. The first thing is you become aware. You become aware of what's going on within your system. Self-awareness. What am I thinking? How am I as a person? Okay, you get into what is called an accurate self-assessment. Okay, then when you know about yourself, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, you know your pain points, you know your trigger points. That's when you start managing your issues. Okay, you take care of your weaknesses, you enhance your strengths, you organize yourself better. And once you've got it all happening properly, then life starts flowing smoothly. And when things go smoothly, you get bored. So you've got to motivate yourself for growth, new goals, new destinations, and more. Ye dil mange more. So what do? You motivate yourself. You motivate the others around you also. And then you start going to the next stage, that has got empathy. You understand what the other person is going through. You help the other person get what they want in life, then you will get what you want in life, quote unquote Zig Ziglar. And once you understood how people, your team members, what are their strengths, their weaknesses, their pain points, and what is it that triggers them to be happy, unhappy, to work, to be there for you, to finish it on time. Okay, who are their important people in around their life, that's when you develop even better social skills, where you start looking after a bigger team. You become the leader, and once you become the leader, you've got to take care of the conflicts, the fights, okay, differences of opinions, and then you got to learn how to be a good negotiator. And all this gets encompassed in this whole thing called emotional intelligence. Okay, so now let's look at the self-awareness thing. Okay, when you are aware of what is happening, you know what drives you, you know what are your trigger points. I've already said all these things. Okay, so you recognize and you're aware of your basic beliefs, your value systems. You do not let go of your personal value systems. You don't go mucking around with other people's relationships, okay, to get your promotion or all that. But you are soft, you are good with your work. You're also good at making the other person feel good. You let them do what they want to do without interfering in their proposition, and you hold yourself and move around with dignity. And you'll find that your colleagues will respect you more when you maintain your personal dignity around them. Okay, you getting it? Okay, so these are what this, and awareness is really the key to everything. Once you're aware, you know what to do. Okay, you already have all the resources within you. So this accurate self-assessment is what is important. What are your resources? Who are the people who will support you? What are your skills? What are your abilities? What are your talents? The word talent has the word latent in it. Spell it backwards: Talent and Latent. Latent and talent, same. Latent means what? Hidden. So what are the hidden good qualities in you that you were not aware of? Okay, and what are your limitations? Where is it that you draw a line? Okay, there are some people who are just extremely bad with learning a new language. If you're going to put them in Germany and you're going to send them to some of the villages in the Germany with a project, they'll be stumped. But then those who don't know how to learn a new language, they know how to get their way across with other people. Then these are not limitations. Okay, so you know what your limitations are, you know what your strengths are, you know where you need to draw the line, and you should be willing to take feedback or feed forward from people. Do not stop them, do not diffuse it by giving excuses. I didn't do this properly, I got angry because of this, because of that, but you know what, it was not my fault. And you know what, no, 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 no. This is what people do. This is what other people do. You just accept what is happening. Don't get into what is called ego defense mechanisms. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about personality, and we're going to be talking in detail about these ego defense mechanisms. Okay, so we're going to take it forward, and that continuous learning and self-development is what accurate self-assessment is all about. And being able to laugh at your own self, at your own what can I say, failures, at your own limitations and craziness, like, what can I do? There are certain things that you will not be able to handle, so it's okay. And that's how you develop the self-confidence. And I've already spent a lot of time on self-confidence yesterday. You can talk to yourself properly, that affirmations that I'm good, I'm the best. Look at yourself in the mirror, feel good about yourself, dress up, okay, put makeup and all that in front of the mirror. Even guys, you can also do it. Okay, you can also tweeze your eyebrows. Well, I don't need to do all that. As I told you, I'm quite a man in these matters. Okay, I've never done it. Oh no, no, I've done it twice in my life. Okay, once at my sister's wedding and then once in my wedding. It was like, um, not nothing, happened to my face, so I'm fine. I didn't need the beautician and all that when this lockdown happened. And anyway, I didn't even care for it. So the people with a good self confidence have the ability to kind of, whenever they enter the room, the presence is felt. They have a presence. Okay. There are people who, wherever they go, they cannot be ignored. Like if Amitabh Bachchan goes somewhere, people are not going to be able to ignore him. If APJ Abdul Kalam ji goes somewhere, if Modi ji goes somewhere, people are going to look at him. Even if Barack Obama goes there somewhere, if Kapil Dev goes somewhere, if Dhoni goes somewhere, nowadays Virat Kohli, you just name it, Shah Rukh Khan, Mother Teresa, all the leaders that we spoke about, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, okay, and many others, these people have made their mark. Indra Nooyi, look at her presence now. Wow, that aura, that proper halo around them, where whatever they say, you are willing to lap up to every bit of information that is coming out of their mouth, of their looks, of the way they're looking at you, the energy that comes out from their chakshu, from their netra, okay, from their beingness. I've just seen Amitabh Bachchan from far, and that too after Professor Vishwanath went away, because I had already found my Amitabh Bachchan, so I was not interested in meeting him. In '84, when he'd come to Allahabad several times, I would just not want to go and meet him there, because kind of, I didn't want to be disappointed. I was aware of his rendezvous with Rekha and with the other women and all that. And I didn't respect that part about him at that time. But then I was told there were rumors and all that. But then we know that they weren't. Okay. So I was not interested in meeting him then. But later, when I met him, I did realize it. But one of my friends told me that she went close to him. And when she was sitting next to him somewhere, she said that she was just getting electric currents from him. That was the kind of frequency he was emanating, the kind of power he was emanating. And just see the power of Shah Rukh Khan, just see the power of Modi ji. In spite of, so many things in life, he attracts people. People just love him. They just like him and they're just willing to follow him wherever, he goes. And these people they believe in themselves. They're quick in making decisions. They know exactly what they want. So if they go to a shop and they're supposed to pick up a shoe, they know exactly what kind of shoe they want. The moment they go in, they just explain to the person who's there to take care of them, the salesman or the saleswoman, the salesperson. And they're so specific, they communicate so well. And bus 2-3 shoes are shown and they pick up one, they make the payment and they're out. Okay. And nowadays, thanks to all this online thing, you know exactly what your size is, you know what your brand is, you know what type of shoe you want, and you'll get it. Okay. So now, after you are aware, you start managing yourself. These are the people who manage their own internal state very well. They don't they don't succumb to the mood shifts, the ups and downs. Okay, they don't scream and shout like Rana Anand. These people are the ones who don't give advice to the others. Their beingness itself gives you a sense of calmness. Okay, I've come across several people in my life. The moment I think about them, I just start smiling. I just feel calm. Okay. Okay, so these people, they stay focused even under pressure. The client would be shouting at them, the wife will scream, the mother will say, oh, you should have got aloo yesterday, and I was supposed to make samosas for your mama ji, and you're not coming for mama ji's daughter's wedding. Okay, and this person has got an order of $1 million, and he has to listen to all this, and yet they'll be very focused. They'll delegate the alus to the peon and say, peon, ये लो भैया 500 रुपए लो, आलू लेकर के घर पहुंचा देना। दिस इज चेंज, क्योंकि जो करना है कर देना, ठीक है, आके यहाँ पे डेस्क पे रख देना, वट एवर यू वांट टू डू, just take care of it. Go help my mother also with the alus. Go peel it for them, after they are boiled, or go and knead the dough and do what you have to do. They stay focused under pressure. They get things done. So you want to get certain things done, give it to a person who's a good manager, the person who is managing their emotions in a proper way. Okay, and this is why they do it, because they have taken responsibility. With the power that they have in their system, they take responsibility for their performance, and they also take responsibility for other people's performance. They live up to their values, their ethics. They're emotionally intelligent. They are good chamchas, but that doesn't mean that they hurt somebody else's feelings, somebody else's family values. No, no, no. They are very ethical about it. Okay, and they're willing to admit to any wrongdoing, and they're there for you to hold your hand and to guide you, to pull you out of your depression, to pull you out of your slump and take you to other places. They have character in them. They have the competence, the ability to look after you, and they have the confidence in themselves and in the world. And in, like that first film that we saw today, they know that even if they get into a jam, there'll be some luck factor, some divine factor, which will just come and help them. Some jugaad will happen and they will make it up. Okay. So managing yourself also means taking care of the nitty gritties, of looking for perfection in what they do in their life, being painstakingly careful and meticulous. You getting the point? These are the people who meet with their commitments, they keep their promises, they hold themselves accountable, and they fulfill the goals and the objectives of the organization, of the team, the timelines. These people are organized, they are careful, and they are conscientious. So conscientiousness is something that I'm very particular about. And I'm sure in the last 3 days you've seen that my slides and the way I speak to you, I'm very conscientious. There are times I do exceed the time, but I keep looking at the clock. And I do like to fit in, okay, into the lecture. Okay. So now comes the motivation part. The motivation is, where for reasons beyond money and status, you're still willing to go the extra mile. That is the passion that you have. That is the inner, that inner motivation, that internal motivation. And motivation is also a topic that we're going to be taking up on the third, maybe, because the next 2 days we are going to be talking about personality. Okay. I asked the morning group, do you want motivation first or you want personality? So they all asked for personality. So you tell me, what do you want? If you want motivation first, we'll do motivation tomorrow. So you want motivation, Amod? I must listen to you. Yeah, you're my sincere guy. What about the others? You want motivation or you want personality? After all, this is, oh my God, you all want motivation. So I'm going to have to prepare for personality and motivation. So evening we'll have motivation. Tomorrow morning we have personality. Okay. So day after tomorrow we are going to be talking about motivation. Okay. Sorry, about personality with you all. So tomorrow motivation. Oh my God, this whole group wants motivation today, and the morning only wanted personality. No one wanted motivation. They wanted personality first. So I'm going to be talking about both of them. Okay. So at this time, understand that emotionally mature people, emotionally intelligent people are the ones who have that inner burning desire, like that, this Priyanka Chopra. This girl is just too much. She's so cute. Not only did she become the world's most beautiful girl with all her thick lips and everything, and with a dusky complexion, but she really surpassed. She's broken the Guinness Book of World Record of acting as 12 individuals in one film. And I remember the name of the film. It's called What's Your Rashi. So check it up. Check up the trailer of that film. I'm sure you find it somewhere. Okay. And she did that. She also was Mary Com. She has done so many other roles in in the Indian setup, where she's really proved herself to be a very, very fine actor. Then she went abroad, she went to Hollywood. And there also, not only did she do well in certain film roles, but she also came in a couple of serials. Quantico was so successful thanks to her. So she's got that burning desire, and then she's gone and married a guy who was 10 years younger, a musician, even shorter than her. And she's so confident of herself. Okay, she's so motivated even now to work. And even after a few years, I think 3, 4 years have happened, since they got married. She's still going strong with him. And she's so loving and so cute. Oh my God, they're both so cute. Okay, so this achievement drive that you have, you know, something, you've got that thing in you to do something in life, not just be something. Okay, remember what the first lecture was. Our Prime Minister said, aim to do something in life, not just to be something in life. Don't look at the status that will come, the money that will come. Beyond the status, beyond the money, beyond the fame, beyond the name, something that makes you want to, you know, exceed your own standards of excellence, to keep improving yourself, to be result oriented, to take calculated risks to improve your performance, and you know reduce the uncertainty in your life. That's what it is. And the commitment, in order to be highly motivated, you've got to be willing to make sacrifices. There are people who let go of their families. There are people who let go of their own comforts. They will not kind of spend too much money because they've got to look after the family which is kind of waiting for them. Okay, so in order to reach that, in order to reach the customers satisfaction and get into what is called the customer delight, these people are willing to go to any lengths to fulfill the group's mission, and they are aligned with the goals of the organization. That's what they are. They have the initiative in them, they have the finitiative in them. They look for innovative ideas, they pursue goals, they get the job done. They don't grab opportunities, they seize them. They are willing to run to catch the train or the plane, fly to catch the plane if they are not on time. they just they're completely full of optimism, and that is what gives them this whole thing about persistence. Remember the first day I talked about it. If you want to reach your goal, you've got to be persistent, you've got to keep taking the action, but you've got to do it again and again. Okay, you've got to bounce back if you're not got it right the first time. These people, they don't look at setbacks as failures, they look at setbacks as learnings, and they celebrate the success. Every little success they get in life, they celebrate it, they share it with people, they let other people grow. Okay, and now we come to empathy. Okay, so what is really empathy? Empathy is the ability to get into the other person's shoes, even if the shoes look like Prada, they look like any other big brand that you can think of. Louis Vuitton shoes, do they make shoes also, Louis Vuitton? So Prada, I know, they make shoes, and then Red Tape. We don't talk about Bata. Oh, no one knows about shoes. Nike, Adidas. Okay, no names are coming. So you get into the other person's shoes, even if they are looking very good from outside. When you get into their shoes with their size, you know how it pinches, where it is pinching, and how tough it is to go around in those high heels or in those dress shoes, which are not comfortable chappals or sandals or things that I'm used to wearing. Okay, when I go to the college, the first day I'm wearing nice shoes and all that, and sari and all works, and then I tell them that I know how to apply lipstick, kajal and sari and the whole works. You're fine. Okay, from tomorrow onwards, the lipstick will go, the kajal will go, my shoes will become comfortable, the clothes will be good. Okay, because that I have to maintain that formality and that thing about me. So to be able to understand what is hurting in that other person's mind, exactly, Amod, it's easy to judge the other person, but it's very tough, and it is not easy to become that person, to get into that person's shoes. Okay, easy to feel jealous of the other person, but have you even put in 1/10 of the hard work or made the sacrifices that the other person has made? And do you know what that person really wanted? For you, that person's husband is an idealistic guy, but she doesn't like him. She likes maybe somebody else's husband.
सोबत असेल तर समजा कसं
Okay.
त्याच एरियात असेल फ्रेंड्सला भेटत आलं असतं मग सोबत आलं असतं. कसं करता आलं असतं.
You getting the point? So people with an empathetic attitude have this whole aura about them where they are able to sense the other person's pain. They are able to sense the other person's concerns. They listen to what has not even been spoken about. They are attentive. The perceptions are very strong. They have what is called the sixth and the seventh sense also. The sixth sense is a combination of all the five senses, but there's also this concept of seventh sense, which is a little beyond that. And that is a sense which tells you what is going on in the other persons. They show sensitivity, they show understanding. They're empathetic, they're not sympathetic. This morning, somebody asked me the difference between empathy and sympathy. Anyone who does not know the meaning of difference between sympathy and empathy, speak now. Okay, I'll talk about it. Okay, honestly, okay, say that my friend doesn't know it. If you don't want to admit that you don't know it, so does everyone know? If I get more than 10, no, me, ma'am, not clear about it. Okay, now good. I really thank you, Adarsh, for taking this courage and asking me this thing. Sympathies, I'll just give you an example. Somebody, because this example is close to my heart, so I'm just saying it. And somebody has died because of corona or because of any other reason in your family, people will just come and just say, अरे बड़ा बुरा हुआ, बड़े अच्छे इंसान थे, बड़ी जल्दी चले गए, पर क्या करें, भगवान का तो ऐसा ही है, किसको जाना है ये, सबका जाना लिखा हुआ है. वो जो है ना, he is in a better place. So you should be happy he's in a better place. Are how can I be happy that my child who was 27 years old and is in a better place? His mother had made his life so miserable, or what for him? How can I be happy that my husband is in a better place without me? How can any place be better without me? Are you getting the point? So that is sympathy. अरे बड़ी अच्छा इंसान था, and then you go out, अच्छा हुआ मर गया यार, बड़ा मुसीबत किया हुआ था, परेशान करता था. So sympathy is where you are just doing lip service, where you're not feeling the other person's pain, where you're just saying what is socially correct to say. I've had fights with people. When people have said he's in a better place, it's fixed, people, सबका लिखा हुआ है, लोग मरते हैं रोमिता, सब आने के लिए तो मरते ही हैं. Then I said, then तुम क्यों जिंदा हो यार, तुम्हारे ग्रैंडफादर क्यों जिंदा है, भगवान अच्छे लोगों को लेके जाता है. Then I say, I tell you, your grandfather is the worst criminal born on this earth. God doesn't want him. Your bloody great grandfather is also still alive. You are 40 years old. What are you doing? You're coming from a family, God doesn't want you all. We have to suffer you. Okay, please, that is insensitivity, that is sympathy, that is stupidity, that is what other people have been telling you, that this is what you should say. Yahi to kaha jata hai. Okay, one very cute relative of mine, I'm not going to mention her name, but she's a nice, sweet girl. She's telling me, Are Romita, why are you worried about Suresh going away, your husband? We are there for you now. I said, really? Are you going to come every morning and make a cup of tea for me? Are you going to give me a hug? Are you going to do my classes for me? Are you going to, prepare? Are you going to talk to my clients for me? You don't even talk for 5 years. You've never picked up the phone. Do you even have my number on your telephone? I'll tell you one thing. When Haresh dies, na, and he's the relative, okay, he's my cousin. I said, when Haresh dies, na, I'm not going to say such stupid things to you. Okay? So she was like, but this is what we are supposed to say, na? I said, yeah, I'm going to talk to your mother, Malti auntie, and just tell her that stop it. Okay? Don't say such things that you don't mean. That is sympathy. Okay? Empathy is when you just go to that person and you say, I can feel your pain because I've been through the pain. I can say that. Okay? I can understand your pain. I've lost a child. I've lost my mother. I know the pain of losing a parent, of losing your loving parent. I know the pain of losing your spouse. And but yet I cannot understand what you're going through right now. Because right now what you're going through is something which is, when I had not lost any child, when nothing, kind of, had gone, Wagmare Manzi, I would just like to say one thing, that you know what, you should just maintain silence. If you cannot understand that person's pain when someone is gone, just go there, just be there for that person. Don't smile also. Just, if you don't feel like crying, don't cry also. Don't even pretend to cry. Don't even ask kaise hua, kab gaye. Arey, why you, Jesus. Ask some relative who's not concerned. Just be there for the person. If your social status is such that the person is from the same gender or whatever, hold that person's hand, hug that person, sit next to that person. Otherwise, just go near that person. Just do namaskar. Nothing. Okay? And if you feel like, you can say that, please call me, this is my number. Anytime I'm there. If you want to talk to somebody and if you want to express yourself or whatever it is, you want some company, you're feeling lonely, I can come over. Otherwise, you can, come over to my place, you need a little change. So show that sensitivity. Can you see this over here? The second line. And understand the other person's perspective, understand the other person's pain. Okay? And help that person out based on what that person needs. There are some people who don't want to be helped. Don't help them. Go away. Let them, carry their own burdens. Are you getting it? Empathy also means developing the other person. Okay? Being there for another person. The quality of a good parent, of a good manager, is that their subordinates, their children, their clients, they do better, their students do better than them. I feel very proud when my students, go abroad, when they get salaries which are, 10 or 100 times than what I'm getting at this moment. I feel very proud because this is, it. Okay. So when you are developing other people and when you want to develop yourself, empathy also means looking for the right people around you, the right coaches, the right mentors. And if you are mature enough, learn to be a coach. Okay. Yeah, sympathy is sugarcoating it. Okay. Empathy is the actual thing. Okay. Empathy is the understanding, really. And sympathy is but bahut bura ho gaya, Okay. And then, okay. So empathy is also being there, meeting the customer's needs, and not only looking at customer satisfaction, but looking at customer delight. When you go the extra mile for the customer, then you get loyalty. So even if your prices are high, your quality is slightly low, whatever it is, the customer will still come back to you. You want me to tell you a story about it? There is very little time, only 4 or 5 minutes left. So shall I tell you a real life story of Suresh sir? that when he told me the story and I told him, I said, this is what you must have done. So when he was abroad, he was working in Johannesburg in South Africa. He was into pumps. So right now the xylem pumps. Okay, you just type xylem pumps. No, baby, Sujal, I cannot send you the recording of it because I have to give the recording to ma'am. What I'm planning is that I'm planning on telling my son to put these recordings on YouTube. Okay, so when he does that, then you can see it. Okay, and I'm going to do it as soon as possible. He's just in a celebratory mood. He's having his holidays. He should have done it. But as I'm going to tell you also a little later, that if you want to get your work done, give it to a person who's very busy. So right now this guy is chilling out and he's not listening to me. But the moment his sessions start and all that on the third and all that, I'm going to get after him, and it'll take him a few days. Otherwise, I'm going to learn how to kind of put it on YouTube myself, so that you all can go to the YouTube, you can watch it, and please put your comments. And those of you who are missing the lectures, then can later on come back and or put comments over there. You will get your attendance. Okay. So this is what service orientation is. This is what the seva is. Okay, so let's just take it further, that empathy also means being able to use the diversity, the ability to use the diversity, the ability to kind of take out the best in the other people, to respect the person's differences as opposed to your opinions. Okay, to be able to look at how you can take your company's issues and everything, and create opportunities to learn when you meet with different people around you. Okay, and you let them grow around you. Okay, and then comes the social skills. Okay, this is very, very important. Social skills is about building rapport with people, building that camaraderie, building the friendship. Okay, managing the emotions in relationships. Okay, building relationships with your customers, with your bosses, with your subordinates, with your competitors also. Because when push comes to the shove, and there's something that has gone grossly wrong in your organization, you can go to the competitor and you can say, aaj sambhal lo bhai, next time there's a problem, I'm there for you. Okay, so when you have that relationship with your competitors, they will go out of the way to help you. They'll give you the best prices and they will give you the names of their secret suppliers. Okay, so when we talk about Michael Porter's five forces of business, like of competition, one of them is the bargaining power that suppliers have, the bargaining power that customers, that buyers have. Okay, so these people, if you're good even with your competitors, you're good with your enemies, people who don't like you, but if you're nice to them, and if one day you go and ask them for help and you really need it, because of your demeanor, because of your positivity, because of your magic, these people will just come around and they'll show to you that they are your best friends. Competition and business aside, they'll forget about the business aspect and they'll be your true friends, and they'll help you in building and raising your business for you. Okay, so that is the power of building rapport. That's the power of winning people's minds with logic and their hearts with a lot of love and affection. Okay, so influencing people to work for you, influencing people to gain their support, negotiating with people, orchestrating your team in such a way that they all play in a tune, and that creates what is called a symphony. Okay, so there's a very beautiful movie that we're going to be seeing about, if possible. That is called the Art of Possibilities. Okay, and that's not available on YouTube or anything. If you type Art of Possibilities, Wender Zandon, you will be getting some snippets of it, but not really the whole movie. You will have him speaking as of in the TEDx and all that. Not TEDx, I think in the TED, he's been a TED speaker also. So in order to build rapport, you need to get into what is called mirroring, matching, pacing, and then leading. So how does this work? We're going to be discussing about it in some other class. Communication is also something where listening is more important than just speaking, okay, or writing. Being able to read and perceive and take in this receiving conversation, communication, that is which one? Does it have a book format? Which one? Which one book? Which movie are you talking about, Aniket? Just tell me again. Okay. So
Just you told right now the art of
possibilities. No,
something.
no, no. The Art of Possibilities does not have any book. Okay. They
Okay.
are basically, it's about orchestra and about music, and these people have not written anything down. And the movie that I have is a paid part of it, and it is actually not very high quality. Also, it's very old movie. I'm not even sure whether the gentleman and his wife are still alive, but they're very passionate lot, and they were quite old and they were very cute. So if it's a 45 minutes movie, and I can even put it on a slightly high speed and make it show it to you all in 30 minutes or something like that. Not 30, but at least 40 minutes or something like that. So we'll do that. Okay. If it's possible, if time permits, we will definitely do it. Otherwise, I'll do it as an extra class, but I will not be able to give it to you and not be able to give it to you as a link. Okay. But that's really beautiful movie. Okay, and you'll really learn a few things about leadership in it, and we show it in corporates, and people have really appreciated it. Okay, and in conflict management, this is also something which I've got lots of information about it. If you, okay, there's a particular video on this also. Okay, so let's now take it further. Ultimate in emotional intelligence is the ability to lead by example. Okay, nowadays again 83 is in my mind. So when that match with New Zealand, after losing one or two matches again, when they had to be in the game, when they had to, in 17 runs, 5 wickets were down, and when Kapil Dev came on the ground that day, he made 175 runs. He set a world record at that time in that 60 overs one day international, in 83. And he really did it. Okay, and he led by example. He inspired his team by example, and today, after so many years, these people are still, so crazy about him. Even Sunil Gavaskar is crazy about Kapil Dev. Okay, in spite of their rivalry or whatever it is that they ever had. Now, like normal people, I'm not, it's all here. This is what Daniel Goleman had written, okay, on my screen, on your screen. Please learn this, go through it. Okay, and just remember one thing, that take responsibility for your own emotional intelligence. Take responsibility of being empathetic towards others. Manage your own life. Okay, so to put it, roughly, read all this, and be there for other people. Create beauty in your relationship. Let your parents, your brothers, sisters, your cousins, everyone around you, your uncles and aunts, and everyone around you, your teachers, let everyone respect you for what you are. Okay, respect your own feelings and let other people respect you. In a crux, you could take the screenshot of this also. It's all about self-awareness, it's about managing yourself, it's about motivation, it's about empathy, and about developing your social skills. And in that, communication is very, very important. So thank you and have a nice day. But there's a little bit more about emotions. What happened? It's gone. Okay, sorry. Okay, so those of you who want to say thank you and have a nice day and your learnings and all that, you are most welcome to say it, and you can start taking off, because there's only the last bit of it that is on emotions. And tomorrow with your class, I'm going to be talking about motivation. So today I'm going to prepare 2 lectures. So good that in the afternoon itself I prepared the lecture, for personality. I'm quite set for personality in the morning, and for the evening class, it's all about motivation. Okay, so we've already spoken about the brain, and we'll also talk about Johari window when I'm going to be talking about TA and communication. Okay, so you're eagerly waiting for the motivation lecture to Amod. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pranali. Thank you, Ashwini. Amod, you've already guaranteed yourself 100 out of 100. O plus. That is, if there is any plus to it. You are outstanding. Okay. So great. So this is it. So have a nice day. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'll see you tomorrow before 4, all of you. Okay, God bless you. Good night. Take care. Anyone has anything else to speak about? Talk about it right now.